What's up, everyone? It's the Battleholic here, coming to you with a statue review for the new Prime 1 Studios, the Dark Knight 3, the Master Race Batman 1/3 scale statue. We're going to start. We'll go over some details on the statue, give you some nice shots. We'll go over the dimensions for the statue, and then later on, I'm going to put it side by side and compare it with Prime 1 Studios' previous The Dark Knight Returns Batman statue. So here we are. We're going to start at the base. It's a massive eagle base, eagle gargoyle, and it's a huge base. If you saw my unboxing for Deathstroke, I think this one right here trumps Deathstroke as far as the biggest base that I've ever seen on a statue. Just because of the footprint that you're going to need to have to display it, especially if you want to display it with the wings. With the wings, it's 27 inches deep. Without the wings, it's 22 inches deep. So that just shows you right there just how much room you're going to need shelf space you're going to need to display this piece. Other than that, it's kind of a darkish gray tone throughout the entire base. You will notice some vines they put in, and they've done some good job of mixing in a little bit of brown just to show some weathering and some decaying for the vines. But honestly, it's mostly just a dark gray color. They have great detail, especially on top of the eagle's head with the feathers. Yeah, it got into focus there a little bit. I think that's one of the better parts of the entire base. Overall, it may be, for the most part, 90% one simple color, but I don't think it takes away from what you should be staring at, which is the statue itself. So I like the base. I have no issues with it, but I could see where some people would maybe take a couple issues with just it being kind of a darkish gray. We swing it over a little bit, and when I was saying that you could display it without the wings, it's really like you wouldn't even notice it staring front on into the statue without the wings. The slots that it leaves would be hidden behind the statue, so it is really simple to display this without the wings. But the wings do add quite a bit to the base itself. The base itself would almost make its own separate statue. It's so big. We'll turn Batman around. We'll start at his boots. You can see some of the detail they put into the boots, all the mud, the dirt painted onto them. I think they did a tremendous job on that. They leave no detail behind, Prime 1 does. They normally go all out. It's on both boots. Coming up, you see all the textures into his suit. All the wrinkles, the folds, everything is so well done. The muscle definition and the thighs, everything is just top notch. Over here on his hip, he's got some pouches. Pouches look excellent. The strap going around. It all looks extremely well done. You come up, you have some additional bigger pouches on his left side, swing around, catch the belt buckle, and then some smaller patches on his other side. Up here in his chest area, I mean, this is an amazing job they did in the suit. You can just tell all the details from the folds, just the texture. It's so well done. The armpit. He's got two switch out chest emblems. Right now I currently have the big fat Batman black symbol on there. if you're going to put this one on there, you're going to want to put this chest emblem on before you put the cape on. The way it's built, the cape covers up two of the finer points at the top of the bat symbol. So you're going to want to put the symbol on there before you put the cape. Definitely make sure you do that. The yellow emblem you can put on without the cape, with the cape already installed. And while I'm thinking of it, while I'm talking about that, if you look on the instructions, they'll tell you to put the wings on first onto the base before you put the cape on. I find it a lot easier after doing some switch outs and getting some dimensions to just put the wings on after you put the cape on. I don't think you have to do that first. It makes things a lot easier when you're trying to maneuver the cape around. And speaking of the cape, it's amazing. And it is huge. If you saw my unboxing, it pretty much takes up my entire torso. But it has such... The paint that they did on this and the detail kind of show the detail in the leathering, even though this is a polystone cape, which I prefer over the mixed media cloth capes. I just think it generally just adds more to the statue. To have a big giant polystone type statue and then you put a cloth cape on it, I think it just, the word I'm thinking of is cheapen it, but I don't think that's necessarily correct. It seems to take away from the piece itself. But once you put a cape on, polystone cape like this, I think it takes the piece over the top. But the folds in it, once again, the way it's flowing off to the side to get a bigger back away and catch that picture. I think the Capture Del Auto's variant cover, spot on. The cape is definitely one of the centerpieces of this entire statue. I have him displayed right now currently with the grappling hook. It's a little difficult to put together because you got to thread the rope through his right hand. They don't leave you a whole lot of room to thread the rope. And also I think the material that they used on this rope itself is maybe a little below par, especially comparing it to the rope used for the previous DKR statue. It started to fray on the end a little bit whenever I was trying to feed it through. So I'm a little less impressed with this rope, and I don't exactly have it the way I'd like to have it. I'd like to have it a little bit more tighter, but ultimately I don't really plan to display this one with the grappling hook. I prefer it with the rifle because I have my other DKR displayed with the grappling hook itself. So for me, this look will probably stay in the box. Also, I thought the material used for this grappling hook, it's a plastic material. They may have done it just due to the weight because it's kind of dangling off. I thought that was maybe a little less than par per se. But the details they put into it are nice. It fell a little cheap, the grappling hook itself. The piece comes with, this is the deluxe edition, so it came with 3 different portraits. This is his pissed off look, and it looks awesome. We'll do a comparison. We'll pull out some of the portraits for the previous DKR and this one, and you can tell where they've kind of made their improvements overall. Not to say that the previous DKR paint job and sculpts were bad, but this one, you can just tell they took it up a notch a little bit. The teeth look awesome. No issues there. You can tell he's grimacing in the face. He's pissed off. I love the white eyes. Short ears. I do like this portrait a lot. This is not the one that I plan to display it with, but this one I will kind of keep on hand and maybe switch out every so often. But this is a nice look for sure. But this isn't the one I'll go with. Whenever we compare the other two statues, I'll do the switch outs to the way that I'm going to ultimately display this piece. And yeah, man, we'll rock it from there. So let me get set up here, and we'll compare the two. All right, so here's the two statues side by side. I went ahead and added the DKR bust that goes along with the original DKR statue for the complete collection. This is the first time that I've seen them side by side, and automatically you can tell that the Master Race statue is just a lot bigger. The base, Batman himself, it's just a bigger piece. As far as dimensions go, the Dark Knight Returns Batman, the original one, is 32 inches tall. There is no switch out parts that's going to make that any taller. It's 14.5 inches deep and 23 inches wide. So it's got a wider base, but you'll have a lot easier time finding some shelf space to display this one. And of course the Master Race with the rifle option, and this is the way that I plan to display it. It's 40 inches tall with the rifle, 24 inches wide the base, and with the wings it's 27 inches deep. So you're going to need a lot of shelf space to accommodate this one, and if you're wanting to do the complete display, you're going to need a lot of room. But to get the comparison, the original Dark Knight Returns, it's an awesome piece. Some say it's one of the best Batman statues out. It's also got a sculpted cape. It has a ton of switch outs. Also, when you buy the bust that goes with it, you're going to get additional portraits. So right now, as it stands, I have 5 portraits for this piece. So there's a lot to love about this statue. Some people say the battle damage is maybe a little overdone, that in the face he kind of looks zombified, but I love it. This is a tough, grizzled, beaten up Batman, but he's not finished. He's not done yet. So I for one really enjoy this piece. Some of the things that I wanted to show as far as in comparison is some of the switch outs. As you can tell here, this is the Master Race hand that holds the 4 batarangs, and here's the original Dark Knight Returns batarangs, and you can just tell, get the camera in focus here, the amount of detail that goes into the Master Race batarangs as compared to the Dark Knight Returns batarangs. They made a huge leap, I think, in as far as this goes. Also, you can tell the change in the amount of detail that they went into comparing both rifles. That's the Master Race rifle, and this is the Dark Knight Returns rifle. The scope, the size, everything to me is just a small improvements here and there that kind of really put the Master Race piece over the top. We'll compare 2 head sculpts. Let's get an angry and another angry portrait. I think the teeth are much better on the Master Race piece. I think the skin textures and paint is a lot better on the Master Race. The cowl sort of looks similar. The cowl's really done well on the DKR as well as the Master Race, but it's the skin and the teeth that I think put the Master Race over the top. Overall, you couldn't go wrong with either piece. I think both are knockout pieces and some of the best actual Batman statues that you're going to find. I know I've only had the Master Race for about a week, a little less than a week, but if I had to spend the money and only get one, it would be the Master Race piece. I think it stands out more. I like the pose, I like the blue, and I like the yellow emblem. I think all that really brings the piece to the next level. It's just a badass piece, but once again, you're not going to go wrong with this one. And I don't believe this is it for Prime 1 Studios in the Dark Knight Returns universe. They've showed the Armor Batman, a render. They promised that that's coming, and that may knock both these statues down a peg. I plan to get that one as well, and I would love to be able to have a display case to put all three together. That's future goals, but for now, I appreciate you guys checking it out. And if you have any questions, leave comments. Tell us which one you like, which one you prefer. Give the video a thumbs up. And definitely subscribe to the channel, as we always have statue reviews, unboxings, all kinds of different content coming up on the channel. So we appreciate all the love and support that you guys give us. And until next time, peace.